Ladies and gentlemen, in less than a month's time, we will be witnessing one of the greatest Sonic games to ever come back in this generation. No pun intended. So with that being said, in this video, I want to talk about what Shadow Generations needs to be a top tier game. Even if the stuff that we list in today's video doesn't make it to the game, I'm still gonna buy that shit.
Hey, where'd you get that? You need that plant for him.
But without wasting any more of your time, the first topic that we're gonna talk about is...
Thank you to Trill for inviting me on to this video. Let's get it. I think DLC for this game could be really interesting since it celebrates Sonic's history. For Sonic Generations, they could add levels from games that came out after Sonic Generations, like Sonic Lost World, Sonic Forces. I know those two aren't the best lineup, but bear with me. Sonic Mania, Sonic Frontiers, and Sonic Superstars. I think all 5 of these games getting a brand new era would be really cool, and it just has all of those levels selectable in one place. I think that would be pretty cool. And as for Shadow Generations, we already know we're getting a DLC level for that game. I think it'll be something based on Sonic Movie 3, so either London or Tokyo, since those are the 2 locations we saw in the trailer for the movie. Or if the DLC level is something from one of the games, I would really love to see a Shadow the Hedgehog level make a comeback. Sky Troops, which is like, let's face it, it's just Egg Fleet from Sonic Heroes again, but cooler. This stage in HD would be amazing.
To add on to that DLC conversation, I don't really want much other than a small Shadow. Kind of like how we have Classic Sonic. I feel like they should at least make a classic Shadow just for shits and giggles. I mean, I know that's not officially a thing, but it would be so funny. We need that now.
The next thing I want to talk about for this game are costumes. I think Sonic and Shadow both have a lot of potential for really interesting costumes, but before we get to the modern duo, let's talk about Classic Sonic's costumes for a second. I think Classic Sonic could get pretty much all of his costumes that he had in Sonic Superstars are fair game to come back here, since those are really the only alternate skins he's ever had as far as I'm aware, not counting mobile games or anything like that. So yeah, just bring back his skins from Sonic Superstars and they're good, honestly. Same with modern Sonic, you could bring in his costumes from Sonic Frontiers. As for Shadow, I really think that he could get some pretty cool costumes. I mean, for one, a Sonic Rider's outfit for him would go pretty hard. Same goes for Sonic, actually. Same with the Sonic Boom outfit, and again, same for Sonic. And maybe give him some costumes based on the Shadow androids. I think that would be pretty cool. Even if it's literally just different stripe colors for him, that would be more than enough for me.
And for me, I think my personal skins that I really want in this game obviously has to be a Sonic Rider one. But other than that, the other skins that I really want to see are the skins that we got on the mobile game from Sonic Dash. Surprisingly enough, they actually have really good skins on that game. But another skin that I really would want to see in this game, hopefully as DLC, would have to be a low poly Shadow the Hedgehog.
What the fuck is that?
It's only right, since we're getting a low poly Sonic, we need that low poly Shadow as well. They wouldn't even have to make a new model, just import that shit from Shadow the Hedgehog and we're good. Alright, it looks like the next topic is gonna be...
You know, a lot of games have came out since Sonic Generations, and by extension, a lot of songs have been composed since Sonic Generations, and I think a lot of them could be really cool to see. Sonic Lost World isn't exactly well known for his soundtrack, but I do really like Honeycomb Highway, so if I were to pick any song from Sonic Lost World to come back, it would be that one. Sonic Mania has a fantastic soundtrack. Just bring in the whole thing, all of it. I don't care. Sonic Forces, I think Fist Bump at the very least should come back, and also Infinite's theme. I don't care if it doesn't fit with half of Sonic Generations, just bring it in. It's an awesome song. Custom Avatar had some really good stage themes. The first one that comes to mind is Moonlight Battlefield. So these 3 songs at the very least I think should come back. I think Sonic Frontiers, bring in all of the Titan themes. I'm not even joking when I say that. Undefeatable, Break Through It All, Find Your Flame, and I'm Here, and also I'm Here Revisited. Bring all of them back. I don't care. They're all awesome. awesome themes, and I need to fight the bosses in Sonic Generations to them.
And for me personally, I think really good song choices that could be in this game would have to be a majority of the music from the Shadow the Hedgehog game. Obviously, we would have all the classics like I Am All of Me, Almost Dead, Waking Up, the Eggman remix, but the one that I really want in this game has to be Glyphic Canyon. I don't know why, but that OST always stood out no matter how many times I played this game. And I know, sadly, this will more than likely never ever happen in this game, but bring in the whole OST for Sonic Riders, please. If you can't remake the game, at least bring in the music.
Don't let the flames die out!
But other than that, I would honestly love to hear some new Shadow the Hedgehog music if they have any of those available, whether that be remixes or original songs.
One more thing I want to see for the original Sonic Generations before I move into Shadow Generations, being able to play as Sonic and Shadow in each other's stories would be incredibly cool. Although I do kind of doubt this will happen, since most Sonic games that have multiple playable characters, you can't really play as characters in each other's levels. And the other thing I came up with for Sonic Generations is a swap mode, where you get to play as Classic Sonic in Modern Sonic stages, and Modern Sonic in Classic Sonic stages. This is highly unlikely to happen, but it would be a really cool mode.
And the only modes that I can really think of right now is just like a speedrun mode, where you just try to finish the levels quicker than the other person. Other than that, if they were able to put in a battle mode just like Sonic Adventure 2, that would be really funny. The only characters you would be able to fight as is Sonic and Shadow, but other than that, I think that would be alright.
First thing I want to talk about for Shadow Generations are the boss fights. The ones we've seen so far to be taking classic bosses from Shadow's past and injecting them with a little bit of that Sonic Frontiers DNA. Look at the Bio-Lizard fight, for example. Just like the Death Egg robot in Sonic Generations, it starts off incredibly similar to the original fight, but then quickly turns into something brand new. Except unlike the Death Egg robot, this thing turns into a completely different boss fight after you deliver the first hit, which is a really cool way to do a bait and switch. They did not waste any time with this. But the thing I like about these new boss fights is that they take a lot of inspiration from Sonic Frontiers, specifically the Titan boss fights from that game. And as a lot of you know, the Titan boss fights were known for being very cinematic and very anime-like. The point is, the Shadow Generations boss fight seemed to be taking that Frontiers Titan cinematic approach while also giving it more of a focus on gameplay, kind of like the Guardians from Sonic Frontiers, which didn't have any cinematic moments but were more focused on using your skills to take down the boss. And that's what the boss fights in Shadow Generations seem to be doing. They're combining the cinematics and the mechanics from Sonic Frontiers, and rather than separating them into two types of bosses, we're getting them all in one this time. So with all that out of the way, some bosses I want to see introduced in this game, or I should say reintroduced, are Mephiles from Sonic 06. I feel like using the Doom morph to like swim through his darkness would be super cool. Another cool boss fight would be Infinite from Sonic Forces. Put the pitchforks down, let me explain this one. I think Infinite from Sonic Frontiers could be made into a really good boss fight. For one, he already had a really interesting mechanic in Sonic Forces, where if you got hit by any of his attacks, he would send you into this weird warped, like red dimension, where he would then summon another attack, which was incredibly hard to dodge, and he was nowhere to be seen while this attack was active. So it punishes you for getting hit. So I think this would be a really cool mechanic to see return, because in Sonic Forces it wasn't really utilized well because his fights were so easy, you never really got to see his illusion attacks. So it would be cool if at random points in the boss fight, either if you take too long to hit Infinite or right after you hit him, he just pops an illusion attack whenever he feels like it and just sends you into that red dimension with one of his super super moves. That would be a pretty cool way to do it, and I can see this leading to a really cool cinematic moment. Another boss fight I would actually love to see for Shadow Generations, and I think a lot of other people have been talking about this as well, is actually Sonic himself. Sonic and Shadow already had a boss fight with each other in the original Sonic Generations. It was a little bit on the easy side, and to be honest, looking back, it wasn't as good as I remember, but it was still a good boss fight. I think an updated version of this boss fight, though, would be really cool. One thing I've wanted ever since Frontiers came out was just a straight up arena-styled boss fight with another character. So to potentially get that with Sonic and Shadow, of all characters, would be just amazing. I know this section was a little long, but those are some boss fights I would love to see return.
I honestly can't say that I have any certain bosses that I want in this game, because the ones that they already showed off are the ones that I want. We already have Black Doom, Mephiles, the Sonic Heroes last boss, I forgot his name, but he's cool as fuck, and that ugly ass monstrosity that we know as the Shadow the Hedgehog prototype. I honestly keep forgetting the name, but you know, that ugly ass looking lizard. But if I were to get a boss fight that I really wanted in this game, it would have to be Dr. Eggman, but only the version where he gambles his life away. Because if you're gonna be a good boss fight, you might as well gamble.
One thing I want to touch up on really quickly are some levels for Shadow. The last section I did was kind of long, so I'll keep this one short. I really think they've revealed most of the levels that Shadow is going to get, and to be honest, I don't really know which ones they could add at this point. I mean, I think it would be cool, like I said earlier, to see Sky Troops from Shadow the Hedgehog return, or even some Sonic Heroes stages. I doubt they'll add another Sonic Adventure 2 stage, since we're already getting 2, aka half of Shadow stages from that game, Space Colony Arc and Radical Highway, and due to how similar Skyrail is to Rail Canyon from Sonic Heroes, I highly doubt that stage will return too. It would just be redundant. And White Jungle, I can maybe see returning, but some Shadow the Hedgehog stages would be really cool. I can also see them bringing back White Acropolis or Dusty Desert from Sonic 06, and as for Sonic Forces, I don't know actually, maybe the forest level from that game that Shadow went through, but that would also roll out White Jungle, because these two levels I think are too similar, so they would have to pick one or the other. Or even some levels from games that Shadow was not in, because we're getting that with Chaos Island from Sonic Frontiers. They could do a Sonic Superstars level. I mean, Sonic had a Shadow costume in that game. It's not too far off, you know?
And I'm also gonna have to agree with Ultra here. I think all of the levels that they showed off so far are honestly great. I'm not sure what else they could add to make the experience even better. I guess the only level I guess I could really want in this game would have to be that one Matrix level where Shadow breaks into the internet. You know, the iconic cutscene where Shadow doesn't know the password to a computer. The only thing he could do is smash it, and it fucking works. I think that would be a pretty cool level to see upgraded into HD.
And I think the last thing I will be talking about for my part of this video is Super Shadow. Yeah, much in a similar vein as my Final Horizon wishlist from last video, I want to see Super Shadow return. I don't even care if he's not playable in like regular levels. I just want to see Super Shadow return and fight whatever new final boss it is. I mean, it'll be Black Doom as the final boss, but whatever new form he takes on for the final boss, I want to see Shadow go Super and fight it. They could even do it just like Sonic Generations and be like, hey, you beat the game, you can use Super Shadow now. Another thing I want to see, please let Shadow do Chaos Blast at some point. We haven't seen or heard anything about it yet, but I want to see Chaos Blast return. At least have him do it in a cutscene or something. I want to see this move in HD. So, anything you want to add on to this, Trill?
The only thing that I want to see that includes Super Shadow is that they don't fuck it up just like Sonic Forces. Imagine if we had to pay for a DLC for Super Shadow. I doubt they're gonna do it, but that's literally the only thing that I don't want to see. Other than that, I'm all for seeing Super Shadow. I honestly cannot believe that we are this close to getting peak. I'm honestly a lot more happy that Sonic is finally able to get its recognition for not being a shitty video game. I know it's had its rough patches, but holy shit, we are so back. The Sonic Renaissance has never been more alive. A huge thank you to Ultra for collabing with me on this video. If it wasn't for him, half of the stuff that we mentioned on this video wouldn't have been said, so I'm glad to get his insight on this game. His channel link will be in the description down below, so go check him out and show him some love. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching the video. If you haven't yet, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, because that should really do help out the channel, and it means so much to me. And as always, a huge shout out to everyone that is a current member on my YouTube channel. Their extra support really does mean a lot to me, and I cannot thank you enough. But with that being said, we now just have to wait for peak. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Have a great rest of your day. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay hydrated, and as always, gamers, adios.